Okay, so today's video is going to be about detainment and denial. And the detainment story? It's about a BC woman and her daughter who have been detained for, I think, about 2 weeks now. They have just been released, but their ordeal is far from over. And I think now part of their daily life is going to be wearing an ankle bracelet. So I'll have that story later on. I also have another story of a Canadian family who's been living in the United States for quite a while, I think. And they decided to go back to Quebec for a vacation and were denied back into the United States. We've heard this before. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys would remember this guy, Chris Landry, the one who went on the news basically saying that he was denied entry into the United States and that he would have to spend the rest of his life in Canada like it's a horrible thing. Well, looks like this guy got back into the United States, which is exactly what he wanted. I say good riddance. But I would say too, Chris, you might as well give up your Canadian passport. It's not like you want to be here anyways. Anyways, we're going to talk about these two reports today. And I'm going to start with the one with the BC mother, and daughter who were detained for at least 2 weeks, I think. So let's get started on the first report.
We're leaving Dili right now. As you can see, we left in our jail clothes.
Tanya Warner and her 7-year-old daughter Ayla have been released from an ICE detention center in Texas after being detained for 19 days. They sent CBC News videos from their drive home.
It did not feel real until we see this place in the rearview mirror. Even though I'm released, I'm still detained.
Now, I want to mention that we can't really criticize this person because they're in the United States. I mean, there's got to be thousands of Canadians and even other nationalities that started their life in the United States before the orange guy took office. And my video isn't to criticize these Canadians that are living in the United States. It's to show that the process for these Canadians living in the United States is different. I mean, it's not just restricted to Canadians. It applies to all nationalities.
Still wearing their outfits issued by the detention center and now in an ankle monitor, Warner says they're happy to be reunited with Edward Warner, Tanya's husband and Ayla's stepfather. They describe the conditions in the facility that is intended to be for families like a prison. Warner says the experience has been traumatizing for both of them, and they're looking forward to some normalcy.
How are you feeling to be out?
Good.
What's for dinner tonight?
Pizza.
Right on, girl.
Now, it was previously reported that Ayla has autism, and that's no place for a 7-year-old to be, in an ICE detention center. But what a lot of reports don't actually tell us is what it's like to be inside an ICE detention center. And what I want to do right now is show everybody this short clip. I did a video on it quite a while ago, but I do want to remind everybody, and think of it from a 7-year-old point of view.
I was treated like a criminal, like I killed somebody.
And every single time I asked a question, it was, I'm not your case officer. I don't know. I'm just doing my job.
I said, listen, I know every one of you will say, I left my kids at home with no one to take care of them. I don't care. You will say that you haven't eaten anything all day long. I don't care. You say that you're terrified, you are here unjustly. I don't care.
It was super cold.
Freezing.
They nicknamed them the ice boxes.
I don't think it's more than 30 degrees.
We're huddled, trying to stay warm, wrapped in these aluminum foils, looking like dead bodies.
There's no window that you can look outside.
I never was able to breathe fresh air.
Fluorescent lights are shining 24/7.
I couldn't sleep. We kept hearing rats scream. Oh.
One of the girls had her period and there was blood everywhere.
They knew I was in a menstrual cycle, but it was not offered to shower for 5 days.
This nurse comes in and she's like, pregnancy test. She made us pee in front of each other into these Dixie cups. We're all just standing there in a circle, holding our open urine, and she's plopping these pregnancy tests in and then being like, okay, you guys are gonna check it back in the toilet.
Not knowing what's gonna happen to me, I feel like that was the worst. Because I wanted just to call my husband. I wanted to hear my kids, and my kids are okay, you know. During the time that I was there, it was also my daughter's birthday.
I was put on solitary confinement for 6 days for advocating for myself and the other Muslim inmates to have a quiet space to pray. That's when my mental health started to deteriorate too fast. It's just a matter of time. I'll get deported and get killed in Egypt. That was the thing that I couldn't get out of my mind. I'll just get deported and get killed.
Now, what you just heard is what's actually documented. And I'm sure there's going to be thousands of other stories that might even be worse than what these people said. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to this documentary because it is actually very telling, which is why I would never want to be in a situation where I might be detained.
The mother-daughter duo were detained at a border checkpoint while on their way home from a baby shower on March 14th. Warner says they've been through similar checkpoints many times before without issue and did not expect to be detained. Originally from Penticton, she and Ayla have been living in Texas for nearly 5 years. She says her immigration paperwork is in order. She has a work permit and has applied for a green card. The Department of Homeland Security, which operates ICE facilities in the United States, has not responded to requests for interviews.
Home again, home again.
Tanya and Ayla will have more immigration hearings in the coming weeks to determine whether or not they can stay in the U.S. or if they'll be deported.
Now, I don't think their story is going to be the last one. I mean, we still have 2 years, 9 months, and 17 days left of the orange guy being in the office. By the way, I Googled that. It's not like I calculated that in my head. But the point being is that there's a lot of time left. And as the days and weeks go by, we're starting to notice that things are getting more radical. Which leads me into my next story, a Canadian family who was denied entry back into the United States. But before I get into that report, I would like to thank Avanar from our Discord server for posting this photo from the Georgian Bay in Ontario. It's becoming a habit for me that once I get a photo from the community, the first thing I do is go to Google Maps and try to figure out where it is. Because unless it's in BC or like the Lower Mainland or, places that I'm familiar with, I have no idea where these places are. So I want to thank you again, Avanar, for posting these photos on the Discord server. Now, just a quick heads up, my audio's been bothering me for the past 2 weeks, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with it. I mean, I bought a new mic, but I actually sound worse than the old mic. So I've been doing some research online, and I've been using the USB cable to the mic, and, reading up on it, it looks like I'm supposed to be using an XLR cable, which is supposed to give a better output. So I bought one of these boxes, which I don't even know what it's called. It's supposed to make it better. So this is the first video that I'm actually using this new box and XLR cable. So I do hope that it is better. I mean, to me, it kind of sounds a little bit better. But I'm going to spend this weekend to try to figure out how to optimize this thing and, optimize my audio. But I could use the feedback from the community to see if I am sounding better at the moment. So let me know in the comments below. And thank you to everyone in advance who gives some feedback in the comments. All right, let's move on to the next report on the family that was denied entry to the United States.
A Canadian family says a weekend trip to Quebec left them locked out of their life in the United States after they were denied re-entry at a border crossing. They've been stranded in Ottawa for nearly a month now, unable to return home. CTV's Caitlin Wilson joins us live with more on this. Caitlin.
Yes, Stefan, what was supposed to be a weekend trip from Massachusetts to Quebec has turned into a month-long ordeal for this family. After being denied entry back into the United States, they're now stranded in Ottawa, trying to figure out how to get their life back. When Michael Fries, his wife and 3 kids packed for a weekend trip to Quebec back in March, they didn't know they were leaving their life behind.
My wife and kids are stranded here. We don't know really how long anything's going to take.
A month later, they're now in Ottawa, staying at a house in Canada while the owners are on vacation, unable to return to their home in Massachusetts.
Now again, I'm not going to focus on why they're actually living in the United States. I'm focusing on the process right now. Now I have mentioned in the past that I have friends in the United States. Some are Canadian, some are US, and some are actually from the UK, but all living in the United States. But the ones that are not US citizens and either they're on TN visas or green cards or whatever else, have all said that they're wary of going back to their home country because they're not sure if they're going to be able to get back in. And this is despite having their documents with 100% no problems, no errors, no nothing. And it's still a major concern for them. For some of them, yeah, my friends don't have the right skin color, so they're even more worried. So in a sense, my friends are actually feeling like they're trapped inside the United States.
My daughter was saying, I'm forgetting my stuffy's names. And so we are taking it one day at a time. And some days are better than others.
Originally from Alberta, the Fries family moved to Martha's Vineyard 4 years ago after Michael graduated university in Idaho to work for a luxury home builder.
There's a 1-year visa right after you graduate from university, and then I got a TN visa.
And with that TN visa enabling him to work in the U.S., they built a life there, rent a home on the island, and welcomed their youngest son, Luca. So when they decided to take a weekend skiing trip, Michael says he didn't think twice about renewing his visa at a Quebec border crossing.
We were at the border for a long time. They were trying to figure things out, and it got denied. Essentially that he didn't think that my job landed as a construction consultant.
Now, I don't know the process for the TN visa. To be honest, I actually don't know anything about it. And I also have no idea why he needed to renew the visa at the Quebec border. But it sounds like he's gone through the process many times. I mean, it's just probably something regular that he used to do if he wants to go back to Canada. But the main difference now are these guys who now have a free pass to act like complete assholes all over the place. If they don't like the way you sighed or rolled your eyes at them, denied. If they don't like your skin color, denied. Or if they don't like your tone, denied. There have been plenty of cases where Canadians and international tourists, or even people who have legit passes, have been denied, but they have not been given a reason. Or the reason is completely bullshit. But then again, you're also dealing with the attitude as well. I mean, we all remember this guy on the right, the one that told us never to come back to the US. I mean, if he's this angry before getting to work, I feel sorry for any Canadians that had to deal with him at the border.
My gut just dropped. Like then what do we do? Where do we go from here?
They say they tried again the next day at an Ontario border crossing with updated paperwork, but were denied again. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, a TN visa allows Canadian citizens to work in the United States under specific jobs.
You will see border officers sometimes exercise discretion in favor of those people. That discretion, however, we've seen reduced under this administration.
And for the Freeze family, that decision has left them in limbo, staying with friends while they explore other avenues to get back home.
The uncertainty is definitely the hardest part. We never imagined that this would have happened when we were leaving, for sure.
We've reached out to American authorities for clarification on the visa process, but haven't heard back. In the meantime, Michael says he's exploring other options, including applying for new jobs or even going back to school, as their community in Martha's Vineyard has started fundraising to help support the family. Stefan?
Now, I totally understand that he wants to stay in the United States. I mean, that's where his life is. But he should also be planning, just in case he actually does get deported. Okay, that's all I got for this video. I can't really tell, but I think this video actually sounds better. Because I'm not having to redo the takes because it sounds muffled or like I'm talking in the bathroom or something. So I could definitely use the community's feedback. Let me know what you think of the new audio setup that I have. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective, without the US media bias. Okay, I'm almost done. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, make sure you check out the ones that'll show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.